अस्सलाम वालेकुम वरहमतुल्लाह। जी दोस्तों, रहीम खां से डॉक्टर मोहम्मद आसिफ पिताहाया यानी ड्रैगन फ्रूट पाकिस्तान के चैनल पे आप दोस्तों को खुश आमदीद कहते हैं। दोस्तों, जैसे कि आप जानते हैं कि हम लोग ड्रैगन फ्रूट की पाकिस्तान में कमर्शियल फार्मिंग को प्रमोट करने के लिए काम कर रहे हैं और वक्तन फ़वक्तन इस सिलसिले में कुछ वीडियोस आप दोस्तों के साथ शेयर करते रहते हैं। हमारी आज की वीडियो में आप देखेंगे कि हमारे दोस्त मुफीज़ नज़ीर साहब, जो कि यूएसए कैलिफोर्निया में रहते हैं, उन्होंने मूर पार्क में एक ड्रैगन फ्रूट फार्म का विज़िट किया है। यहाँ पे इनवाइटेड लोग सिर्फ शामिल थे और लिमिटेड तादाद में लोगों को मदऊ किया गया था। 50 के करीब जो है वो दोस्त शामिल हुए थे यहाँ पे। उनमें मुफीज़ नज़ीर साहब भी शामिल थे। और इस ग्रुप की खूबी ये है कि यहाँ पे हम आपको ये दिखाएंगे कि ग्राफ्टिंग ड्रैगन फ्रूट के फेसबुक पेज के जो एडमिन हैं रिचर्ड ली, जिनको ड्रैगन फ्रूट का गॉड भी कहा जाता है, तो वो जो है इस फार्म पे तशरीफ़ फरमा थे और उन्होंने अपनी उस मौजूदगी का फ़ायदा उठाते हुए लोगों को ग्राफ्टिंग की टेक्निक्स भी बताई हैं कि ड्रैगन फ्रूट को कैसे ग्राफ्ट करना है। और उसके अलावा जो है वो उस फार्म का विज़िट भी करवाया है और लोगों को रेफरल के ज़रिए जो है वो एक मुकाबला मुनक्कद करवा के ब्रिक्स लेवल जिन दोस्तों का अच्छा था फ्रूट का, उनको मुख्तलिफ कटिंग्स, रियर वैरायटी की जो कटिंग्स हैं, वो भी तोहफे के तौर पे दी हैं। तो दोस्तों, इस रैफल में हमारे मुफीज़ भाई जो हैं वो माशाल्लाह से तीसरे नंबर पे आए हैं और उनके फ्रूट्स का जो है वो बड़ा अच्छा ब्रिक्स लेवल आया है। तो वो कॉन्टेस्ट में उन्होंने सौर पैच वाटरमेलन की जो कटिंग है वो भी जीती है। तो आप लोगों को हम दिखाएंगे इस वीडियो के अंदर पूरी डिटेल के साथ कि ग्राफ्टिंग के बारे में रिचर्ड ली का क्या कहना है, पाकिस्तानी ड्रैगन फ्रूट फार्मर्स के लिए उन्होंने कैसे विश किया है, और जो है वो उस फार्म का विज़िट भी आप करेंगे। तो दोस्तों, हमारे साथ जुड़े रहें। मैं इस वीडियो का जो है वो स्टार्ट करता हूँ, तो यहाँ से आप आगे इस पूरी वीडियो को तफसील से देखेंगे जी, और इस टूर से महजूज़ होंगे इंशाल्लाह। और दुआओं में याद रखिए और कोशिश आप लोग भी करें पाकिस्तान में ड्रैगन फ्रूट की फार्मिंग को फ़रोग़ दिया जाए, क्योंकि ये एक मेडिसिनल वैल्यू का और बहुत ही खुशगवार फ्रूट है। अल्लाह हाफ़िज़ दोस्तों।
Hey guys, it's Richard here. I wanted to say hello to dragon fruit farmers of Pakistan. We're at the event today with Muffy here. So I just wanted to say hi to you guys, and I'm glad you guys are following. Thanks for watching my videos, and keep up the dragon fruit growing, okay? Don't give up, because it does take some time, but once you get good at it, you're going to be really good. So keep it up, guys. Grafting. What is the purpose of grafting? Grafting is to help speed up the growth of dragon fruit. For example, let's say this cutting I had here didn't have roots, right? But I have all these root stalks here with established roots already. And if you guys grow dragon fruit, you guys know how stressful, or sometimes it could be very easy to grow roots, and you know, sometimes some don't make it and sometimes some take so long. To speed that up, because you know, the downtime to wait for roots could be anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 weeks, even like a month, right? So what this does is it has an established root stock already. So when you're grafting it on there, they basically don't have to do any rooting. They just grow from there on out, right? So that's one way to speed the growth of dragon fruit. So if you guys start practicing, and let's say like you go to a store, you find a fruit with a stem on it, you guys can take that stem and then do a clone graft. Like if you guys can do like a V graft, I have a V graft right here. So this is an example of me taking a fruit from a store. So you guys want to see, this is the V graft here. A lot of the time people don't like two-sided branches, right? They're ugly, they think they don't produce fruit. I actively look for these now because they're so easy to graft on. Before, I used to do V grafts on the sides where I would cut a node and stick them right here. And they would be like a 70% chance if they're gonna latch on, you know, and then sometimes it takes longer because they have to build those veins to start pushing on a node. With this one, it was directly on top of that camellia. You guys know that camellia, the circle inside of the core, the woody part? So what I did was I took the fruit, I cut off a thorn with this tool I have here. And this is just like a rubber sealing tool, like it's a window tool. You guys can get this like on Amazon, on eBay. It's really cheap, like $6-7. And it has holes here so you can see where you're cutting. And what I do is I just, you know, take this here, cut it, save that piece. And then I find the camia in here. Once you cut it, you guys can see like the white part. And then that's where I did the V graft here. So that's one way to graft. Another way to graft that I first introduced to the internet was the cleft graft, because this was just the easiest one to do. Like, it was just like mash the camo layer, wedge it in, and tape it as tight as you can, right? So this is the cleft graft here. And I got this cutting from a friend in Hawaii. This is called the CFA Desert King. So it's from Australia, from a farm called CFA. It was such a small cutting, and if you try to root anything under 4 inches, the new growth that comes out of it is usually very young growth. So I didn't want to wait that long for it to mature. So what I did was this is a Delight rootstock. It had roots already. So I just did a cleft graft on it. And then within 2 to 3 weeks, I have this branch here. So technically this will fruit for me next season versus me waiting 1 season for it to grow and then hopefully for it to fruit the next season, right? And then there's something called seedling horizontal grafting. This, if you go back to my channel, this is my very first video I ever did on my YouTube channel. It's like, I'm all super awkward. I'm like, hi guys, I'm Richard. You know, like nothing like this now. I really encourage you guys to start learning how to do this. If you guys are like, you know, enthusiasts like me. Everybody has already well-known dragon fruits, but what's better than to grow your own type of variety, right? You guys are already pollinating your dragon fruits by hand, correct? You guys all know to go collect pollinate your dragon fruits. You guys are basically hybridizing without even knowing it yet, right? So if you guys take those pollen and you say, let's say you collect Ecuador pylori pollen, and then you go to purple haze. You take Ecuador pylori pollen and you pollinate that. Now you have a hybrid. You have the Ecuador cross with purple haze. Those seeds in there are now going to be a cross hybrid of those. So within those pods, if you graft them, anything can come out. Every single one of those seeds is a different type of variety. Just like when you have kids, they never look the same, right? When they come out, it's always something different. They can be a boy, they can be a girl, they can have long hair, short, tall. Same with dragon fruit seeds. Each one of those seeds will have a slightly different characteristics. So when you guys graft them, it's a whole new variety. And that means you can name it whatever you want. So that's where I came up with all these fun names like Sour Patch Kids, Sunset Sherbet, whatever, right? Just make them sound good and make sure they taste good, because if you're gonna name it that, you gotta live up to its name, right? So that's the cool thing about grafting season. It is a little bit challenging, but once you guys get the hang of it, it becomes very fun and addicting. Once you start grafting one, you're gonna start grafting everything. You're just gonna do it just because you're like, I wanna just see if I can do it. And that was my stage where I was like, I just wanna see if I can get success on it. And eventually that transfers into, I wanna start creating new dragon fruits, right? So today, I'm gonna be showing you guys some of those grafts. So which ones do you guys wanna see? There's a seeding graft. I could do a cleft graft, horizontal graft.
How about V?
V graft. Okay, we're gonna do V graft. A rainbow here. This is rainbow cutting, and we'll use like one of these here. Okay. I don't have a flat one, so we're gonna do a side one. So just to show you guys, because these ones are pretty rare to get. But when you guys do get it, it makes your V graft that much easier. So start saving these. I know a lot of people cut them because they're just like, oh yeah, they're two-sided, they're ugly, like I don't want it. But I look for them all the time. I'm like, oh yes, I found one, you know. And then that's when I do this little Frankenstein with it. Okay. So some tools that I like to use when I'm grafting is paper tape. This is like one of my favorite tapes because they just stick so well. They're very easy to manipulate. Like when you're bending them, it's not too stiff and it's like very flimsy. And they're micropore, so they can still breathe in. A lot of times when I use other tape, it kind of like creates this like humid layer down there, and then like little fungus starts to grow, or sometimes even bacteria starts to grow because it's inside a bag when you guys are grafting, right? And that creates like a perfect like environment for bacteria to grow. So the micropore tape really helps, and it sticks very well because as you're grafting, these actually grow still, so they get plumper and plumper and plumper, and sometimes the tape will fall off. And then your graft hasn't fully healed yet, so they'll start to like move as they grow, and then your graft fails, and you're like, what happened? And then you see over here your side of your tape is like up like that, right? So micropore tape's really good. Always have alcohol pads. Clean your tools when you guys graft. Like a lot of my all the time. A lot of my successful grafts comes from just using sterile stuff, and I think that's the reason why, you know, my percentage is higher. A lot of times I would reuse this maybe once or twice. This is all sterile scalpels that I use. I'll wipe them with alcohol, and then after that, I just toss them away. Because you're spending all this time grafting, you want to just make sure you do it once right? Because then after 2 weeks, there goes 2 weeks, and then you finally find out your graft has failed, and there goes your graft. You have to start all over. Unless you're like me, I just graft a bunch of them and then hopefully 1 or 2 of them are successful and then they stick, right? So that's that. Bags, you always want to bag your grafts. My rule of thumb is 5 days. I like to do like 5 days for every type of graft that I do. Once it starts to heal, you will know the callus will start to get dry. But if you touch it, open the bag and it's still wet, then just leave the bag on for it to slowly start to heal. And then once they heal and they latch on, you can take the bag off, okay? We'll talk about how long to keep them in the shade, when to bring them out to direct sunlight, and what to look for if you see that they are successful, okay? So let's go ahead and start a V-graft. So before I do any graft, this is like my first chore. I just start getting a bunch of tape and I cut them into little tiny pieces and I just leave them right next to me. Versus when you're like grafting and then you try to get tape, it's a mess. You're just like, wait a minute, I'm not even ready, you know? So over here, so there you go. This is the graft master too.
So Richard, where do you get this tape?
This tape you can get anywhere, any CVS stores, Rite Aid, I think any pharmacy store, they have it.
I think Richard steals it from the hospital.
Oh, yeah, I work at a hospital, so they get donated to me. They know. So first, take some tape. I like to use scissors a lot of times. I know, you know, people just tear them, but when you tear them, they kind of do this. So when you're kind of like putting them down, it's kind of crooked. It's just harder to latch. What I do is I'll like put them to the edge here, and then I just start cutting. I'll do little thin strips. Depending on how big your graft is, you can see how big you want to cut it. But I cut all sizes. I'll do like little ones and then they get bigger and bigger and bigger. So I have variety to choose from. So then I'm like ready. The thing with grafting is you have to do things pretty quickly because you're working against time. You leave it exposed too much, then it kind of gets you know, calloused up. The mucus parts start to dry. The whole point is we want to get those mucus to combine with each other and dry with each other versus that layer on top drying and we put it together, they're just gonna fall off in the future, right? So let's me cut some tape here and we can go ahead and start on a V graft. And in before, I think if you guys seen my YouTube video, I used to have this other tool. It's a pumpkin carving tools or fruit carving tools, and it comes like a V. I used to just take that and poke through. But when I did that, I felt like it was harder for me to line it up in the center. So I started, when this started coming out, this was so helpful because they have a hole right here. You literally can see like where you're gonna cut. So I'll show you guys once we get started, okay? Let me get some more tape cut. Cambion is not as thick, so when you're cutting them, it's very easy. The juices are still kind of young juice, so the hormones are the same. So when they grow, they blow up. If you guys ever notice, people do graft on straight cambion. And then if you guys notice the people that do grafts on these new growths, the new growths always grow bigger because these are the new ones with the new hormones that they're just releasing versus the old ones. They don't really focus too much growth in there. So every time you guys graft, if you guys can, use new growth. They are the best. But in this case, we're just gonna try to get one of these to graft. Okay, so when I start a V graft, what I do is like sometimes if it's late at night, I take my flashlight and I'll like beam it through the giant fruit cutting. And then sometimes it's too sunny now, but at nighttime you can see these lines. So those are the veins that you guys want to try to, so Kevin, that you guys want to start cutting in, okay? So let me look here. I don't know if you guys can see, but I can see this vein right here. It kind of pops up. You guys want to see? Yeah. Those are the path. Yeah, you want to align it as best you can to the center of that vein and then cut there, right? So let's go ahead and get started. Another thing to note is once you graft them, make sure you draw like an arrow so you know which way is up or down. There's so many times I cut it with the V-cut graft and I put it down, I'm like, oh my God, which side is up and which side is down? So I had to come back and like match it. I was like, okay, this side's up. So what I'm gonna do is I have my marker with me and I'm just gonna find, let's see, something to match this side. I think I like this one right here. Something flat and easy and plump. I like this one. So try to find something as straight as possible, and when it's kind of wavy and curvy, it's still successful. It just makes it a little bit more challenging for you for your first time, right? So I like this one right here. I'm gonna draw an arrow up for this way. I have my tape ready, and now this is where we use this tool. But before I use this, I'm gonna wipe it with some alcohol just to make sure it is clean. And this is a great way to really maximize your grafting material. Say, like I said, you go to a store, you see some farmer that messed up and he left a piece on, you're gonna grab that and you're gonna go home like, I'm gonna graft the heck out of this thing. You're gonna just like, you know, get like 4 pieces off of a node.
It's my variety now.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you're a farm. I have it in my backyard now, you know. That's why my mom is so amazed. She's like, don't they sell those in the stores? How did you get those? I was like, I bought it from the store and I grew it. She still doesn't understand what I do to today, my mom. She's like, how do you get all these dragon fruits, you know? Every time I come, I see you have more. Okay, I cleaned it. So let's go ahead and cut it. I'm gonna cut this first. I like to use, so growth usually starts from the top. And after I graft this, I'm gonna want to take this off because a lot of the energy is now focused on this. But once I stop this, it's gonna figure out a new way to go there. What I would do if I really want to focus only the graft to grow in that certain area, I would cut off every single one of these nodes here, because every single one of these spines here has potential to grow a new stem, a new growth, right? So you want to limit that and just make it focus all of its energy only on that one part that we graft. So when you guys cut it all off there, all the energy would just go there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna choose this one here because it's really nice and pronounced, really dark. So excuse me for 1 second, guys.
Oh, now I see.
You see it now, right?
Yeah.
You see that dark line?
Yeah.
See how the sun is beaming there? That's the vein right there.
Ooh.
So your goal is to try to get that vein as best as possible. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm probably gonna cut about, let's see here, nothing too crazy. I see that it's centered in there, just like that. Give it a nice wiggle. And if you guys get close, I see that vein right there. It's that really white circle spot right on there, okay? So now that I see that exposed, that's the vein that the cameo layer is gonna start growing from, right there at that dot. Now we're gonna go ahead and quickly, you guys wanna work fast, okay? Get that on as soon as you can. So now I'm gonna go here, grab one of these nodes. So you see how the possibility of one cutting can turn into like hundreds, if you guys can do it right. Okay, I like this right here.
This is how you make 100 Sour Patch Kids.
Exactly. Joseph's telling me I better get to work. All right, I got it in there. Arrow is pointing up. I see in the middle that is the white cameo layer there. So what I'm gonna do now is just match it in here as best as possible. Okay, and you want no air gaps. You see how I lined that up so good in there? Just like that. Okay, we're gonna leave that there. Get your tape, and now we're gonna do some taping. Okay, I want to make sure that it's centered as possible before I do it, tape it. So I like that. So I'm gonna start with the bottom, squeeze it as tight as possible, and tape. And your goal is just to make sure there's no air gaps, because if there's air gaps, they're gonna heal with that air gap and it starts to slowly release. But if it's tight, your chances are higher. Yes, I've done it where I put a different variety in each node, and then they'll grow all.
I do. They thought I'm crazy.
No, you can do it.
Frankenstein.
I have, like this one. This is a very good example. This is one dragon fruit cutting with 2 different varieties. These are 2 different seedlings. This is Asunta 5 crossed with Asunta 4 seedling, and this is a red Laverne crossed with Asunta 4 seedling. So 2. The 6 is how I did the same thing with the 6. I grabbed 2 6, and that's how I got Asunta 6 and Wild Berry Skittles. But they're in the same rootstock. Because I grafted them on the same rootstock, they both fruited at the same time. So that's the bonus of grafting multi-grafting on a rootstock. Once one of them start to go in the flowering phase, that whole thing is going to start flowering. You just don't know which way it's going. So really recommend it. If you guys do multi-grafts, put a bunch of varieties on there. You're going to have those fig trees where people have 10 different varieties on there. Yeah. Dragon fruit can do that too. Most I've done is 3 grafts on one, because I feel like anything else in that, they grow very slow. So I do 3 different types of varieties on there, and then they will fruit at the same time, you know. So that's a really good question that you asked there.
Richard, which varieties are good for rootstock? Is there some
rootstock
one like Vietnam White, Laverne?
So what I tell people, it can be different for everybody else, right? In our environment, Vietnam White grows the best because it's just an established fruit here that has been passed around, and then their genetics has been ingrained in this weather.
Right.
It could be different for, Pakistan. It could be different for Vietnam. It could be different for Thailand. Whatever you see that grows very well in your environment, use that rootstock. And pay attention to the cambium layer. Some varieties, their cambium layer can be very small, so it makes it very difficult for you to try to match those up.
That's what I noticed.
If you find a variety with big cambium layers like this one, I don't know what it is, but I kept...
Laverne usually is strong.
Laverne is strong and has big cambium layers. That one is good, and it grows crazy. They're vigorous growers. So use anything that is good in your condition, you know, that can take the heat, the California heat. Make it easier on you by finding stuff with bigger cambium, you know, so that way you can match it. And that's it. It doesn't have to be any specific variety, but anything that grows well in your environment, and you notice some of the characteristics that makes it more simple for you to graft, use those. I have no main rootstock. I literally would just root everything and anything. Then I got to a point where now I can graft using even like the smallest cambium. It just takes a lot of patience, and I do break a lot of seedlings when I do that. I'm just like, oops, there goes another one. And then I just keep going. But the thing is, be persistent. Keep practicing, keep doing it, because if you don't ever try it, you don't ever do it, you won't learn from your mistakes. You're going to have to fail to learn from what you did wrong, right? So that's a very good question as well. So as you can see here, I have sugar dragon rootstock. Why did I use this one? Because it was a flat one, and I can do a V-graft. It's very situational. Just go around your garden and be like, make mental notes. You're like, I'm going to use that for grafting later. Like, oh, that one looks good. I'm going to probably use that one for grafting later.
Question.
Sure.
Where do you get that longer bag?
These bags I buy on Amazon. So these are, I think, 4x8 length, and they come by like 100.
Because I can't find it in the store.
Yeah, Amazon sells them. I don't buy it. Yeah, you can get all the sizes on Amazon.
Walmart got it too.
Walmart?
You do?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you don't need the Ziploc. You just
I use saran wrap.
Saran wrap works as well.
It's easiest. You cut it and wrap it. That's it.
Okay. So now we're gonna want to bag it. I kind of just always rip this part off right here because it makes it harder for me to tie. Now we are gonna bag it. We have a set of grass. So you want to bag. That's why I grafted on the top. If you guys graft it too low, it's gonna be hard for you guys. You guys gonna need like a trash bag to tie that, right? So I kind of puff it up like this, so that way nothing is touching. You know, we want to keep the contact as less as possible, because when it has contact, condensation does grow in here. You don't want any water to get on it. Simply get some guarding tape. You can use regular tape. You can use a string, shoelace, whatever you have at home. Just tie it up.
Leftovers.
Whatever that you can get to. Like, oh, I forgot tape. I'm gonna use my shoelace. So we're gonna tie it. If it wants to tie for me.
Is there a certain time of the year that grafts are more successful?
Oh yes, good question. So I like to graft a lot in the springtime, beginning of spring. So right when you start seeing plants start becoming productive, start grafting then, because you're gonna want that season to have your graft grow. Let's say you graft at the end of the season, like right now, September. This won't be ready until next season, because now they're gonna start going dormant starting November. Yeah, so you have to like baby a little bit longer, but you know, they won't do anything. They'll be successful, but you won't ever see growth because it's not season yet. So if you do it around peak season, like the beginning, spring is when I start grafting very actively, because all those seeds starts to pop out anyways. Yeah. And then that's when I start being very proactive with grafting.
How about time of day?
I like to graft usually in the noon time. Not too, like right now I wouldn't graft because you see the sun, the air is a little drier because of the sun, and nighttime there's more condensation going on, it's cooler, and I have more time to do my thing. Here I have to work against the temperature, the weather, the heat and everything. So you can see how much that it's really relaxing. As your sun is setting, you're grafting, just like meditating. You're just like in the zone. You're just like, I'm gonna get this, come on baby. You know. All right, so we have our graft. It's good. What you want to do is I even take this tape. So this is so universal for me, you know. It acts like some paper for me to write on. So what's the date today? October 2nd. So I write 10, 2, 21. And this is a rainbow graph. Rainbow graph. And I will just put it on the pot, so that way I never forget, because after you graft one, you're gonna start grafting more and more and more, and then you start losing track of where you're grafting, right? So that's why you see I have all these tape on here. So from this day, I'm gonna wait about 5 days, and I'm gonna check this out to see if it's starting to lose or if it's drying correctly. Usually 5 days is enough. Sometimes if it's really hot outside and it's extra dry outside, I even do 3 days. And then I would just, after 3 to 5 days, take the bag off. You want to leave this in shade for 15 days total, and that's with the 5 days with the bag on. So 5 days, bag on, it's in shade, and then an additional 10 more days still in the shade. And at day 15, you guys can take it out to full sun. It's healed, it's ready. Once it gets that full sun, it knows what to do. It's just gonna start growing. So 15 days is like the magical number that's always worked for me. So I really like to do that way. And then fertilize. Right at 15 days, start giving it growth fertilizer. You want to give it incentives to grow. You're like, yeah, you're grafting me, you just damaged me. Like, what do you want me to do now? Like, I healed already. Like, what do you want, you know? Give it some nitrogen, so then that way it can start pushing out growth. A lot of people, like, you know, they graft and they're like, well, how come my graft is growing so slow? I'm like, are you fertilizing it? They're like, oh yeah, I've just been watering it. I was like, yeah, they need food too. Like, they're grass, but they're still plants, you know? So that is how you do a V graft. And if you are successful, you guys will get this beautiful growth here. And look at that, it's taken off. You know, and this started off with just a thorn that I found from a store for. The reason I grafted is because this Pelora here was 464 grams, so it was pretty decent size, like a good big fruit. So that's why I wanted it. I was like, okay, well, this is a big fruit. I like it, so let's try to grow it. And that's how you do a V graft. Thank you. Yeah, I'll be raffling off all this stuff at the end, so if you guys want it, yeah, definitely seeds if you guys want to go home and graft.
Oh, but did you label it rainbow?
Yeah, rainbow right here.
Here we go.
Nice. Rainbow. It's because I have dogs, and if I leave them anywhere, they just go for it.
Oh,
yeah.
Have you ever bricked this one?
Yeah, this one's 19, 20 bricks.
Ah.
Yeah. Last one. Unknown parents. Yeah.
You know at least the mother?
I don't. I got it as a physical graffiti. It is not physical graffiti, so I renamed it to. So the first contestant here is Don. What variety are we having here, Don?
This one over here is a tomato condo, and I hybrid with the American Beauty.
Oh, so it's a Condor American Beauty hybrid. Okay. We're gonna get some sugar levels.
Where's the cutting yourself?
They're free here if you win.
Richard, maybe we should put you over here so we can get crowd.
Sure. You want to help?
Yeah.
Just so that I'm not lying to everybody, we're gonna make sure everyone sees this, okay?
Yeah, did you see the cut in the video? Yeah. Okay. Oh my God, it in sugar right away.
Okay, first one is John.
18.
What do you have here? Oh my God, it's so hot that it's not even reading.
Wow, it's like my phone failed.
Wow. You got, where is he? 20.3.
What variety again?
20 point.
What variety?
No, this one over here is condo tomato, and the AB is powder. And I name it two.
Mix of Condor or what?
Condor and American Beauty. Makes sense. Condor and American Beauty, very sweet.
Don, I want the cutting.
Price going up.
I'm selling them.
Now your stock went up already.
Tom, give me a napkin.
Mama mia.
20.3. Okay, let me clean this. So that way we are not getting other juices mixed up.
He already killed the whole contest.
I know.
Yeah, I know it's
Very pretty.
kind of self-food general this. And but there are some 10% even make it. Kind of self-food.
Okay, let me make a video. Get Don in there. That's his variety.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so Don, remember your number. 20.3. If you forget, it's your fault.
Sugar needle poking in there.
The suspense is building. Everyone's there. This one's pretty. Water.
Did you bring the garlic?
Yeah, this is only dragon fruit in here, never garlic.
Okay, Shayna.
20.4.
Went down.
20.4.
Just so you know,
Shayna?
I've talked to other people about it. To try to make them sweeter, I don't water for like 6 days.
Yeah, once you don't water it,
When it's almost ripe, I won't water it.
Wow. Don, neck to neck right there. Wow, he beat you by 1. Okay.
Onto the garlic presser as well. You want me to clean that one?
Hey, who's
Yes.
the guy? Just pour some beer in
This is like 1.25
Yeah,
pounds,
maybe
yeah?
the sugar content is sticking.
Is it really white inside? I see it's very juicy.
Okay, here we go. I feel like I have a butterfly knife in my hand. Okay.
All the other varieties already gone. It's gonna be like
23.
Oh, this one doesn't even read.
So sweet. It's higher than
Too hot.
Yeah, I think it might be too hot.
broke the meter.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you got the extra batteries?
Commander recount.
17.6 for George White. 17.6.
Nice.
17.6. So you're in 3rd place so far.
Right.
All right, and this one is this another George? George Red.
George Red.
Who's this one?
Me.
Yours. Okay.
So like George White and George Red?
17.6. Remember your numbers, okay? Yours 20.3.
20.
So 20.3, 20.4, 20.3, 20.4, 17.6.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. You gotta have a white category and a red category, man.
Yeah, that sounds very sweet.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were tasting with Edgar Valdivia this thing like
Yeah.
a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I liked it. It has like a really sharp tart to it.
All right, George, tell us when's the last time you watered that one?
Last night.
Sugar water? Okay.
Okay. Let's see what we have here. 14.7. George Red, not that sweet.
Does it taste?
We will taste it at the end if everybody wants to give it a try.
Yeah.
Tried that George's Red. That's something's wrong with the meters.
Sometimes it happens, man. AB.
Oh, there's a dragon fruit.
And Grafting.
Oh, a beautiful color.
Yeah, AB is always so beautiful.
Come on, Cody. Let's do it.
Probably gonna be like a 16,
I don't
to be
know.
honest.
Oh, that was. Wait, what was it called? Shayna itself was
It's a very low number.
Really? Why?
I don't like
Is it because it's small? Oh, it's hot. 15.5. Yeah, it's a small fruit. Okay, we have one last one. This is Eos fruit. Who brought this? Who put this here?
Right.
No, we were walking through the farm. That one was ready to go.
Oh, it's Gilbert? Is this Gilbert's? Maki Supa. All right.
Right. No, that sounds pretty good.
So everybody that entered the dragon fruit contest will get to choose one. You'll just be following the line of where you guys got placed, okay? And then the rest will be offered up as a raffle. We can write like a number and I can pick it out of a hat. All right, Maki Supa. I saw you did a recent post on this, Gil. You're saying that this one was the keeper.
I did test the sweetness, so we'll find out.
Okay. Your daughter liked it. Kids never lie.
It's cool.
Wow. Magasipa has that really deep.
I thought I had asked you that. Is it Japanese? But it's just the name, right? Yeah. It looks a little bit weird, right? Over there is like a breeze, like deeper. I think they told me 0.4 is kind of fine.
17.6. Not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
It's good.
That's good number.
Don't need water. No wonder your water bill's so low.
I don't think.
Next year, everyone, we do this again. No one's gonna water their dragon fruit, dude. Everyone's gonna come here like.
Once you started, George.
The 20.4 one's kind of. I don't think they're like.
All right, let's do a bonus. If anybody gets this right, you can get to enter a contest. Anyone that didn't have a fruit. So anybody want to guess the number?
15 and a half.
15 and a half? 17, 16.
15.1.
Be light. Yeah.
15. 16.
15-2.
16.3.
15. We'll take minus less or more by 2 points, okay? By 0.2. 0.2.
You're out. Like price is right.
Let me say hi to Eyal 1 second.
What's the number?
Last time I did the delight, I think it was like 17.
This is 18.
It's 15.
17.
The sun doesn't make it read. 17.2.
You're close.
Try squeezing one of your grape pop pieces in.
Oh, I don't have any.
No more.
They ate all that, bro.
The vultures. How dare
That
they?
one's supposed to be
That's a
sweet.
pretty one.
It's sugar related.
Pretty
right?
baby.
Man down.
Man down, man down, man down.
Right by the.
It's all right. It's
It's
dragon
okay.
fruit.
It's just dragon
Survive
fruit.
anything.
They always live.
Apocalypse.
Okay.
They're made to do that. They're dragons for a reason.
They grow bigger fruit, and they get sweeter if you drop them a couple times.
16.5. Okay.
That's it.
Pretty sure Voodoo Child's very
Okay.
sweet.
Drum, please, and the
Oh,
winner
yeah.
is.
He knows the stuff.
And
So
the
I'm
winner
pretty
is-
sure.
Train him well,
I'm
Ken.
pretty sure it's sweet. Yeah, you're right.
Already is the winner. I know.
Already saying, just give me the money.
14.7.
What?
Yeah.
Why is it not good? Disappointed. The Voodoo Child.
Too much battery.
No way.
Here we go.
Yeah. I retested. It was like 15. Yeah.
Wow, that's not sweet at all.
You have a refractometer and all of these cuttings here. So we have Godzilla, Ecuador Flora,
Take Vietnam White.
Black Africanus. Yeah. We have Royal Red,
And you don't get the
He's like, I want that Micropore
Rainbow.
Candy is mine.
We have actually a couple rainbows. Cotton candy, Sour Patch Watermelon, and Sour Patch Kids.
Ooh, Sour Patch
What do you
Kids.
recommend? It's totally up to you. What do you not have? What do you want? This is your call, man. I'm just really picky here.
You get the whole thing.
You get
You go big or
Take the
go nothing.
refractometer.
I have one.
What's behind door number 1?
I'll go ahead and.
Black Africanus.
Yeah.
Now you can trade that for what's in the box. I'll take this.
Okay, Don Dewey, you are our second winner, so go ahead and select your prize.
Oh, I get to choose? Yeah. Oh. Oh no, I'm not.
No, you put it on the spot.
I don't know. Can I one of each?
You can only get one. You can only get one.
Oh, then I'm not choosing.
Choose.
That one is good.
Yeah. Oh, refractometer? Okay. Well, that
Did
part-
you break it?
He did. Third winner was Muffies. Okay, go ahead. You get to choose either one of these cuttings.
No.
Sour Patch Kids?
No.
Sour Patch Watermelon?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, how about this one? Which one do you prefer?
Cotton candy? It's up to you. I can't, I don't want to be at fault when you start to eat the fruit.
I'll take this. Thank you.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. That's the one that everybody wants.
Watermelon.
Got it. Third place.
Okay, so fourth place winner was
Yeah, that's true.
Gilbert. Go ahead. Yeah. We have cotton candy, Sour Patch Kids, Rainbow, Royal Red, Black Africanus, Ecuador Floor, and Godzilla.
I was hoping Sour Patch Kids was actually the candy. Cotton candy. Sour Patch.
Is this the one you named?
Yes.
I don't know cotton candy. What is that?
Cotton candy is a Connie Meyer mix. Is a Connie Meyer hybrid.
This one.
Yeah. That one.
I heard good things about it.
Yeah, that one.
Thank you.
That was a really good one.
Cotton candy?
Okay, fourth place winner was that no Muffies? You were 15.
I was low.
No, here.
15. You were George. Yes, George. You're next.
Oh yeah, this one.
You're okay?
I got it wrong.
Okay. he didn't want his, so it goes up.
Right. I'll be willing to take. I'll be willing to be George for a couple minutes.
Hey, I think
Go ahead, darling.
he's the newest one out of all of us.
Since you came all the way from, where is it, Texas?
Oh, you come from Houston?
How about the one that lived the
Okay, and I think Cody did the last.
He's winning a prize for that.
Am I missing anyone?
I'm going for the Royal Red.
Royal Red. Okay, so that's everybody that joined the contest, correct? Did I?
Didn't she? For the
Oh yeah, you get the last pick for guessing the right bricks.
Oh, there we go.
Rainbow, Royal Red, Black Africanus, Ecuador Floor. So we're gonna split the groups now and then go ahead and do it. So let's do half starting from here, and then half will be here. So whoever wants to go to the what should we do?
Yeah, we're gonna. I'm gonna take people on a tour in a main area, but just the most important thing, the porta potties are when you came up, just when you made the turn, right there in the bushes. So maybe you missed it. Is the porta potty? There's one. So yeah, run for it.
This is my first time here. I'm just curious. I think a lot of people would want to know what varieties do you grow here.
Okay, we'll get you to the tour.
Okay.
Okay, so now it's kind of a general. Now definitely we'll get to the tour. So the porta potties. That's the most. So started from the Irvine station, the research station. The project runs by Ramiro Lobo. Then Ramiro was here. Well, they lost funding. They didn't have a lot of funding, so basically the plot there, it looks really bad. I mean, they have maybe a couple plants that are alive, everything else is dead. So he was here getting more cuttings to restart the project. He got no funding now, and he was looking at my cutting and plants, and he said that maybe when I got the cuttings from him, maybe it was mislabeled, and what I thought, well, I still think is American Beauty is actually Halley's Comet and vice versa.
Oh, no.